You ever seen someone walk up to a place like they got nothing left to lose, holding a car that looks like it fell out of a cereal box, and turn the whole world on its head? That's how it started for Sarah Mitchell, just another cold Virginia morning outside Fort Crestwood. Her old sneakers scraping gravel, eyes steady, but you could see the miles on her face if you looked close. The guard at the gate, a couple of kids barely out of high school, took one look at her faded jeans, no insignia, and that weird black card with a little glowing triangle end, started laughing like she was the punchline to a joke they'd been waiting to tell all week. "You here to sell us cookies or what?" One of them, Jenkins, called out, waving her card around like a party favor. The other, Diaz, loud and broad, dumped her canvas bag right onto the ground out, spilled a battered notebook and a pen. Nothing dangerous, nothing special. Sergeant Ruiz joined in with a sneer. "This ain't a tourist spot, honey." Sarah didn't flinch, just stood there, posture straight as a fence post, waiting. "I'm here on orders," she said, low and level, but Jenkins laughed harder. "Orders from who, your mom?" You know, that kind of laugh, the one that says you're invisible, powerless. Specialist Torres, the desk clerk with the gum-smacking habit, took a look at her card and pushed it back with 2 fingers. "Military base, not Comic-Con, sweetheart. Why don't you go play dress-up somewhere else?" Everybody got a kick out of that, even made lightsaber noises, but Sarah just tucked her card back in her pocket like she knew something they didn't. Larson, the tech guy, tried her card on the scanner, expecting an error, but when the whole thing lit up purple, everyone got real quiet. Jenkins tried to save face by tossing her card back at her, aiming for her chest. "Pick it up, princess." She did, slow and calm, looked him dead in the eye and asked, "You done?" I swear, the way the smirk slid off his face, priceless. Then Captain Peterson came storming out of the guardhouse, red-faced, demanding answers. "You think you can crash my base with some toy?" He barked, then didn't wait for an answer, just told his people to restrain her. They cuffed Sarah hard, led her away past off-duty soldiers snickering by the barracks. One, Malone, tossed her bag into a mud puddle. "Go back to your day job, lady." Sarah just shot him a look, "That bag's worth more than your mouth," and kept walking. In the holding room concrete walls, single flickering bulb, Peterson told Larson to run her prints, called her a wannabe hacker. Ruiz said maybe she stole the card off a real soldier. Nobody listened, until the red phone on the desk rang a direct line nobody ever used. Peterson answered, and I've never seen a man's color drain so fast. "Did you just put handcuffs on Sarah Mitchell?" The voice was General Crowley himself. "She's the last surviving operative from Dragon Eye. Release her now." Peterson stammered, fumbled with the cuffs, handed her card back with shaking hands. "Ma'am, we didn't know," she just said. "I need your cooperation, not your apology," and left him standing there. The mood changed after that, but not all at once. Lieutenant Gorman, clipboard king, stopped her in the hallway, snatched her card and tossed it in the trash. Sarah didn't yell, didn't plead, just told him, "Pick it up." Eyes locked on his until he turned and walked away. That's when folks started realizing maybe she wasn't just another face. Inside operations, Doyle, a lifer with a limp and a mean streak, saw her and went off, blaming her for his team's death in Dragon Eye. "You don't belong here," he snarled, sloshed water over her documents. Harris, young and cocky, piled on, "Bet you just hid behind the front line." Sarah picked up her ruined papers, brushed them off, asked Doyle, "You finished?" "No yelling, just ice." She moved to the main console, scanned her card. A whole wall of screens flickered, showing a 3D map, mission data, offshore bank accounts, time to the minute her old unit went down. "I wasn't the only survivor," she said. "I was just the only one who didn't betray us." The color drained out of Doyle's face, and Harris went quiet. After that, the word got out. But not everyone came around. Major Kendall mocked her in a briefing, tossed her pointer across the room. Sarah slid it back. "You need this more than I do." The officers, even the cocky ones, started to see the writing on the wall. Later, when she presented a new encryption protocol, Captain Lyle tore up her notes, called her a fraud. That afternoon, when the base's secure channel got hacked, it was Lyle's unit that failed protocol ignored. Colonel Vance put Sarah in charge of the fix, handed her new notes, told Lyle to stand down. The room started to listen, but the little cruelties kept coming. Baxter, another officer, tossed napkins at her, told her to clean up her mess. Sarah just told him, "You're loud for someone with no clearance," and walked away. At lunch, Reynolds, the queen of gossip, said, "You're not one of us," tried to cut her down. Sarah looked her in the eye and said, "Luck doesn't leave you with scars." And the room, for once, went quiet. At night, in a locked room, Sarah got the call. "General Crowley, Pentagon on the line. Same pattern as Dragon Eye. We need your eyes on this." She decrypted files only her card could access. The others whispered, "She's running the show now." And they weren't wrong. By the end of the week, consequences rolled in. Jenkins' discharge photo of him mocking Sarah's card leaked online. Career gone. Ruth demoted. Malone lost his training post. Reynolds' security clearance revoked. Doyle, court-martialed for financial sabotage. Sarah didn't watch them fall. She just kept moving. Her card now a quiet symbol of what happens when truth outlasts the noise. Her husband showed up one afternoon, tall, unassuming, but everyone recognized the presence of someone who'd seen things no one talked about. He nodded at her. She joined him. No words needed. The screen in the command center still glowed with her name: Commander Sarah Mitchell, mission active. Soldiers stepped aside, saluted. She didn't need to flash her card anymore. Her presence was enough. You could see in the way people quieted when she walked in the silence was respect and maybe a little fear. You know, it's funny. People will judge you before they even hear your story, treat you like you're invisible, like you don't matter. But every once in a while, the world turns upside down because you stood your ground. Some battles you fight without raising your voice, just with the way you stand, the way you refuse to disappear. And that kind of victory, well, that sticks. So what about you? Ever had to carry a weight the world said you couldn't lift, ever been written off, only to prove them wrong? Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Where's the line between justice and payback? And who gets to draw it? I'll be here, reading every word, walking this road with you.